The Southern California Association of Governments region, SCAG, is home to the largest two ports in the country and has an extensive multimodal freight network that supports the flow of goods throughout the region, state, and nation. Goods movement contributes to our economy and supports a diversity of jobs in transportation and logistics, manufacturing, wholesale and retail trade, and construction, generating over 1/3 of all jobs in our region. The SCAG region is the primary gateway for international trade in the U.S. and the largest manufacturing center in the nation, with the highest concentration of warehousing and distribution. It also faces enormous responsibility to identify and promote effective policies and strategies to mitigate the associated impacts of goods movement.
We have this obligation in our regional planning to think about goods movement and how we can move goods more efficiently, but also to make sure that the movement of goods has reduced impact on our communities.
Goods movement challenges are particularly acute in these communities near goods movement facilities and operations, and many of them are considered disadvantaged communities using data metrics established by various federal and state legislation, including SB 535. And in terms of the public health impacts, those include increased risks of people getting cancer, as well as asthma cases in children for communities directly exposed to pollution from the goods movement. And then in terms of lack of access to economic opportunities, for example, education and workforce training. And then if we zoom down and look closer at the local challenges, while the benefits are broadly dispersed in support of our consumption economic activity, the local impacts are often concentrated, having disproportionate impacts on certain communities that are felt at the local level, everything from parking issues and noise to safety concerns and traffic. And these communities, they're becoming much more aware of these impacts, but the communication and participation barriers still exist.
One of the biggest challenges that we're facing is diesel particulate matter. Diesel particulate matter is the predominant air toxic in California's air, and it's particularly concentrated in disadvantaged and low-income communities and communities near goods movement corridors. And diesel particulate matter is a known carcinogen.
Some of the economic benefits of the goods movement sector in Southern California include the establishment of niche startups in the port area, including those involved with fintech as well as digital load matching. We also have the development and the manufacturing and servicing of zero-emission equipment and zero-emission vehicles. These are powerful forces for workforce development in the region.
And the jobs that come both directly and indirectly through port operations means that we have economic activity not only inside the gates of the ports, but outside the gates as well. Warehousing and distribution, rail operations. So the physical transport of goods provides an awful lot of jobs, but so do all of the value-added services. The currency flows, the coordination of trade across state and international borders, the ability to develop secure systems where information is traded across supply chain partners.
Economic competitiveness for Southern California and the Inland Empire is extremely important when we deal with the goods movement sector, right? The ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach are part of our competitiveness. We have created one of the largest goods movement and logistics sectors in the world. And 40% of all goods coming into the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach into the United States come through Southern California and are distributed to every congressional district in the United States.
These smaller manufacturing plants that are located closer to the end customers. And so instead of having a few large factories throughout the country, we are seeing a lot of companies build these smaller micro factories that use a smaller footprint, but then are closer to the fleets.
Many of these jobs require a specialized skill set, right? And on mass, they pay better. And so the opportunity is to move people from low-skilled jobs to higher-skilled jobs.
Communities should be interested in bringing these facilities with zero-emission technology in, because there won't be the pollution impacts that have traditionally been associated with these types of developments, and prioritizing and requiring that these investments be done with zero emissions in mind is not only going to benefit the health of the communities surrounding these facilities, but it's also going to bring about the jobs.
You could say, well, we don't want any more warehouses in the Inland Empire. Well, then what would happen is those warehouses would be built in Arizona and Nevada, and all of those goods would be trucked back into California.
We need policymakers, planners, and organizers who advocate for the meaningful engagement of communities with governments as well as industry